Let's get reaction now on that story. Joining us live from here in Johannesburg is the City of Joburg's MMC for Housing, Mlungisi Mabaso. Mlungisi, thank you so much for your time. I'm hoping you would have seen that report from our reporter speaking to the elderly who unfortunately are stuck on these homes, which according to them is basically falling apart. Your reaction to some of the complaints that we've heard there from those elderly citizens here in Johannesburg?
Well, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity, and greetings to you. And I will also extend my greetings to the viewers and the residents of the City of Johannesburg. Well, what had happened is that I went to South Hills to issue out title deeds. So during the process of the event, then the residents and the beneficiaries, they raised concern to say that there were defects that were detected in houses, and they did not want to take ownership of those units. We then said to them they must accept the title deeds that we're issuing to them, and then we'll come back to conduct an oversight to check exactly what they were reporting to us, so that we are able to attend to those issues. And we did that, exactly that. Immediately after the event of issuing title deeds, we then conducted an oversight, because when we checked with the developer and the project manager of the department that are working in that site, they did indicate to us that there were about 117 to 120 complaints that they received from beneficiaries. And when we conducted oversight, we discovered that there were, in fact, things that were happening with those houses that were relating to the detections and the defects that were detected. And then we then instructed the contractor to attend to all those defects that were reported, and to address those complaints that they received from the residents, of which the report that we received at the office was that they did attend to them, and 117 houses, in fact, were repaired, and the residents did sign off those reports to say that they were happy with the interventions that were made and the repairs that were done by the contractor. So we were surprised to learn that there are other units, in fact, that have been experiencing the same challenges, of which my office was not aware of them until we received a memorandum today, because our understanding was that after we received a report from the contractor that 117 units were signed off by the residents, indicating that they were happy with the work that was done by the contractor. It was only 2 units that were not signed off by the beneficiaries, because beneficiaries were out of the province. So this one, it came to us as a shock and as a surprise, because it was not reported to the office. And immediately after Umobile called to inquire about that, we called the contractor, and the contractor said they were not aware, because if they were, they would have attended to those issues. But I had then made that commitment to myself, and I have contacted the contractor that next week I need to be at South Hills again to check on those units that have defects reported to my office, so that we attend to those issues, because we've been attending to the issues that have been reported to the office from the South Hills residents.
Mr. Mabaso, if you're dealing with a contractor that already delivered, according to various reports, according to what you've just said, delivered shoddy work on all accounts, would it not have been a good idea that after they said they'd go and fix these houses, that you or somebody from your office should have gone to make sure that what they say is things that were fixed and were signed off on did actually take place? Has anybody from your office been there since these complaints were all seen to and were all signed off on according to the contractor?
Well, what we normally appreciate in the report is when the beneficiary signs to say they are happy with the work that has been done. Then we take it that if the beneficiary or the tenant is happy, then everything is fine. That's how we we normally welcome the report. So in this case, a similar event happened where the reports, then there are beneficiaries that have signed to say they are happy with what has happened. And I assume, I'm not sure because I'm still going to conduct an oversight. I assume these are other units. It's not the one that were reported and repaired by the contractor. So that's why then we then said it will be prudent for us to be on site as well or next week so that we attend to these issues, because the contractors, when they build houses and when they finish houses, beneficiaries and residents are given time to check if there are any defects in those units so that they report them immediately, and then we send the contractor to go and repair or fix whatever that is needs to be repaired in the house.
Who signed off or who gave the go-ahead for the handover of these flats? Because some of the complainants said that there were windows that were put in upside down. Now, that's something that you can see immediately. It's not a crack in the wall would probably appear after an extended period of time. But these are units that people moved into in 2019. That's not a long time ago for maintenance issues to become a problem. Do you know who signed off on these houses once the contractor had finished their work?
Well, I'm not privy to that information because I came after the allocation as the MMC. The only thing I did was to expect that the process of providing them with ownership in the form of title deeds. But when these defects were reported to us, I then instructed the department to conduct an investigation to check who signed off the quality of the house, because it worried me when I conducted the oversight to learn that there were a lot of defects in houses. That report has not been tabled to my or submitted to my office, and I think we need to make a follow-up on the department, the director responsible, to check if they've concluded that investigation, because I'm also worried as to how these units were in fact handed over to beneficiaries without doing a thorough investigation on the quality of the units, because if you go there, they look like they are 20 years or 30 years old, whereas they are new houses. We shouldn't be experiencing these challenges that we have encountered.
Do you know if this contractor is doing any other work under the auspices of the city or under the auspices of the housing department at the moment?
Well, I believe that it is Cagro company that is doing, that was constructed these houses, but I'm still to be corrected, and there are other projects where they are doing, they are implementing on behalf of the city, like I think Flareoff is one of the projects that Cagro is doing in the City of Johannesburg.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your openness in giving us the latest on that story, and I do hope you're getting to contact with our reporter once you have that investigation report, and indeed let us know what you find when you go to South Hills, just to double check on those flats and those that have been apparently been fixed and signed off on. Thank you for your time.